Well, everybody, welcome back to the Trig Pox of Jungle Steve this beautiful Sunday, July 27th, the last Sunday of the month. And you could say almost of summer, right? Kind of. It's almost the last Sunday, the last weekend before life begins full force, full throttle, full force. Maybe give or take a week. But by the way, if you would like to join my live stream, you can go to the link right here. Where is it? Let me actually flip this camera over. Let me just do that so I can point to the right place. Let's see. All right, so you can go right there. There you go. See, I like to do that. So you can go to that link right there and you can join me live so we can talk about maybe how you are doing and we can pray together. My name is Pastor David. I am a man who loves to help and bring people joy through the Word of God, through honest content, so that we can come together and to help each other out through the ups and downs of life, through the honest moments that we all face, and to most of all encourage each other to live a life of joy. So by the way, you can go, as I said, go to that link right there, or you can just click on the link that is at the bottom of wherever you're watching us, on LinkedIn or Twitch or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and you can join in live and we can have a live conversation and chat and go from there. But I want to talk about this very, very, very awesome topic that I named I Lost Everything, right? Let me see, what did I exactly name it? You know, I have a problem that I name my videos and then I close the page where the title is shown, so I have to then reopen it, blah blah blah. So that's what I'm doing. So everything was gone, but that's not the end. And I'm actually going to call it Everything Is Gone. That's even better. So you know what I'm going to do, so I don't have that same issue every time. I'm going to actually put the title on here. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. Everything's not gone, but you know what? In some ways, it is. I'm going to explain what I mean here in a second. So let's see here. How about we call this title, and then we're going to put in here everything is gone, but that's not the end. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that title down here and I'm going to make it smaller. You can't see it yet, but you'll see it here in a second. So it's not quite as in your face as that. Let's see, here we go. So there's the title right there. It's kind of hard to see with my t-shirt. What I'm going to do is make it shine, I'm going to make it scroll, make it sing. Let's see, how do we do that? Scroll, there it is. Scroll, horizontal speed, and there it goes. I'm going to make it. See, actually that's a little too fast, isn't it? There we go. I don't know how to put a background, so maybe if you know how to do that on OBS, let me know. But anyway, so everything is gone, but that's not the end. But before I get into the actual show, I wanted to tell you how today went. Today I had a great day, kind of a bittersweet day, and that'll actually be part of what I'm going to talk about today. But the beautiful part was that I sang today these beautiful songs at church, led worship, hung out with some amazing people, had a vocal rehearsal, did a lot of great things there with our church and our team, and saw some of my good friends, and we sang. Probably my favorite song is Gratitude. Oh, my words fall short. I also, speaking of singing, I recorded a song last night like at 1 a.m. because I got inspired that my father recorded that maybe I'll play for you here in a second. You know, I wonder if I can do that. Let me see if I can do that and play it for you. Where would it be? Let me see if I can do it and show you, because this is a song that my father recorded years ago. He, as you know, or you may not know, he was a professional singer and just loved Jesus, and he's now in heaven with Jesus. But he was my inspiration when it comes to all things worship and music, and mostly singing. Really, I wouldn't even say worship per se or music per se, but I would say singing. He was, to this day, in my book, one of the most gifted vocalist and singers, and he really was, from people's opinions and all that stuff. And so I have been always inspired by my father. That's why I sing, and people say that I sing well, but my father was my true is my true inspiration. I don't know exactly if I'm even close to him, and I'm not saying I need to be, but my point is that he really is my inspiration. Trying to download this file here. Let's see here. Unsend, forward, share. I'm not sure how to do that. Let me see if I can play it here. Can you hear that? I don't think so, huh? Yeah, I'm not sure how to quite share that, so I might have to wait. I have it in my other computer, so. But maybe that'll be part of a tease, right? Maybe one of these days I will. Well, what I mean to say is that at one of these recordings in the future, I will play you that track that I recorded last night. Well, what's nice is that it's in 4-part harmonies, because my dad used to sing in a quartet, like one of those barbershop quartets for Jesus. All of their songs were hymns translated into Spanish that were in 4 parts. And my dad was the first tenor, so you could always hear his gorgeous voice because it was on top. And then his brother used to sing melody, and then his cousin used to sing, I think, second, like alto basically. And then his friend, good friend, was the bass. So they have the 4 parts, the SATB, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. So all that to say is that my father, so I recorded that last night, and so my sister, shout out to my sister Amanda and Marcia, both of my sisters, and my mom, shout out. I sent them the track, and they all loved it, of course. And I actually sent it to my friend Alberto, shout out to Alberto, out there in Nicaragua, who sang with my father when I don't know if they lost a member for a season, and so Alberto sang, I think, bass with them and played the guitar with them for a season. And then Alberto, I sent him the track, and he wrote me back a beautiful note. He said, "What an honor to sing with your father. They changed my life." What was that? They changed my life forever. Hold on, let me see what the heck that was. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It was nothing. It was my wife was playing with our dog. Anyway, so yeah, my friend Alberto was saying what a privilege it was. It was just one of those beautiful moments. So shout out to my father in heaven, and one of these days I'll play you that track, because what I'm thinking of doing, I guess while I'm talking about this now, is I'm thinking of, he did a whole record of maybe like 10 songs that I have still on my mantle here on the piano. And I recorded one of his songs in 4 parts, just with me doing all 4 parts. And then I don't know if I did the guitar part myself. I think I must have. I don't think it was the original tracks. Although now, with AI, you could extract the original music and then put your own voice on it, so on top of it. So maybe I'll do that, but probably not, because I want to modernize it. That record was recorded in 1972, so 50 plus years ago. And so I'd want to add my own flair to it, still keeping the traditional sound, and then with my father. You know what? Speaking of splitting sounds and AI, I wonder if I can take, I'm sure I can, just my father's voice out of the 4 and out of the whole instruments, the whole record, and just extract his voice and then add that to my record. Wow. I think that might be what I'm gonna do next year. So very, very, very beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, that's what I want to talk about today, is this whole idea of my topic here that I put on there called "But That's Not the End." Everything is gone, but that's not the end. By the way, did I start my Zoom? Yeah, I did. Okay, so you can come into Zoom if you'd like. Everything is gone, but that's not the end. So, It's been a very emotional week and day, so I don't want to get too sad, but I do feel sad. I was going to name this video I'm Sad. Maybe that would have been even more catchy. Um, Nothing major, just simply life. But yeah, my mommy, who of course you know, you've seen all my videos with her, she went back home to Nicaragua today, so we just dropped her off like a couple hours ago. She's still in the air, flying. Uh, I'm praying for my mommy, by the way, flying back home to Nicaragua, where I was born and where she lives. And she lives there with her family. You know that I'm the only one from my family that lives here. I mean, at least of my immediate family, cousins, brothers, sisters. Yeah, I would say, yeah, certainly mom and dad. Grandparents, yeah. So I'm the only one that lives here in the States, which is sad because I often feel that, like, man, my people, my home, my culture, my family. Now, it's not that I don't have any family. I do have my aunt who's close by, my uncle who's close by. So it's not like I have no one. So let me just make sure I say that. But as far as my mom, my sisters, and my cousins, that kind of thing, it's just me. And so now let me say something else. I do have some cousins from my Aunt Sonia, shout out to my Aunt Sonia, that are close by. So, okay, you know what I mean, right? And so yeah, my mommy went home, went back to Nicaragua today. Let me make sure that you hear that when I'm saying that she's flying back to Nicaragua. Be clear here with my language. And you know, because I don't see her often, I see her every year or so, which is now amazing. I mean, I used to see her every 10 years, like ever. I never used to see her for many reasons, distance and money and I don't know, life, I guess. And but then in the last, I would say, 10 years, I've seen her every year or so. And then during the pandemic, of course, she was here for almost 9 months to a year because of the pandemic, which was a gift, even though it was kind of not exactly the greatest of situations and circumstances. But I mean, not only do you miss your mom, right, because she's your mom, but I miss her especially because of the circumstances of not seeing her often. And now that I do get to see her more often, we went to Hawaii and all these things that you've seen us do, these shows. I miss her so much when she leaves. It's not only that she's my mom, but it's everything that goes with moms. The food, the language, the laughter, the personality. She looks like me. We laugh the same way. We have the similar teeth. You know, all of these things. I mean, as I said, my dad is now with Jesus, and so she's my mom. It's all I have left. And so for my kids, for our kids, I love her. Of course, my wife loves her to death. I mean, she just loves to hang out with her. She's her friend. And then my wife helps her so much. So it was emotional. You know what? Let me show you some of the pictures that we took just from today, because I do have those from the airport. And so just if you would, I guess, bear with me as I say a little bit of home cooking, just to say I love you, mommy, and I miss you. And I can't wait to see you again. And may God, of course, bless you and keep you as you travel here. Literally, she's in the air right now. And I'm sure everything is going to be fine and it's all good. She'll be there. It's what, 6 p.m. right now? I think she'll be there in about 3 more hours or so. So almost home. And so let me show you some of the pictures here that we took at the airport just a little bit ago of my mommy and my beautiful wife. So let me just see here what we got. Boop. Let me erase that. Let me erase that. Maybe I should have kept those, I guess. Yeah, I guess I should. So that's my beautiful wife. Sorry, the audio was out there for a second. So that's my beautiful wife and my mommy. That's the apartment where our daughters live now. That's part of also the everything is gone thing. Let me slow this down. It seems to be a little too fast, isn't it? Transition speed. Let's see here. How can we make this a little slower? Let's try that. Hopefully that's not too crazy. Okay, there we go. So there's picture number 1. and that's my mommy right there at the airport just a few hours ago. We were dropping her off. I left church as soon as possible and flew literally down the freeway to LAX to say goodbye. And then my wife was there already, and our daughters and son were here, and they said goodbye here at the house. My daughters came home to say goodbye, and then there's my mommy, my wife, at the airport LAX, Terminal B for Tom Bradley, where she left a little bit ago to go back home to Nicaragua. That's our daughter's apartment. We were there on Friday. Yes, Friday. We were fixing up just the place, putting things together, curtains and such. So yeah, it's been, like I said, a pretty emotional day. Not only that, but then our daughters left also this week, and it kind of been like a slow roll, moving every other day and taking this, taking that, but they would still stay here, spend one night there. But then finally, I think it was Friday also. So this happened just all this weekend. They finally took the bunny. That was, I think, the biggest kind of the tell-all is when the bunny left. When they took the bunny, you knew it was happening. And so the bunny left this morning, or no, excuse me, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, and so that was those moments of truth where you think, wow, the room is really empty, upstairs where they live. And now our son is home, so that's been great. And he is just working through school and career and kind of a pretty stressful couple of years that he's had. So he's dealing with some things that he's got to work out just in his emotions, in his heart and his mind. So we're thankful that he's home, so we can see him through that and support him as he figures things out. But as I said, it's been kind of one of those really, you could say, yeah, as I wrote on the thing, times of everything is gone. It's the empty nest, as they call it, for us parents. And of course, for the kids, it's fun. I mean, they don't see any sadness. They're like, whoa, this is awesome. Now, I can't say that. I'm sure they're going to feel it. They're feeling the sadness. I'm sure David is feeling the transition of being in Santa Barbara, where he's lived for the last 2 years, and suddenly being home again, and kind of, okay, now what do I do? Same with our daughters, moving to, of course, a new place and a new beautiful apartment, but all that goes with traffic, and the commute now is going to be different for them. What else? Just not being home, not having all the things of home, bills, of course, having to pay rent and all the realities that go with that. All those things are just being an adult. And of course, it's all good and we're thankful. So I'm not regretting or thinking, oh, this is terrible for them. No, this is a gift. This is a total gift, and I feel blessed. We're just simply talking about some of just the realities of what does it feel like. And as I've always said, I'm here to always commit. I've always committed. I'm going to show you some of the pictures here, to being a man who is not afraid to say, hey, you know what? This is an end. This is a transition. This is the beginning of something new, but it's also the end of an era where we had all our babies here at home, and the whole empty nest thing is, if you've been through it, if you haven't, then this is what it looks like when doves cry. And I'm putting there on the screen some of the pictures of Isabella, our daughter. She, as I said, she came home today with Canela to say goodbye to my mom, and also to say hello to Roxy. So there's Roxy, our dog, and it's beautiful. We lost Daisy, our beautiful dog of 12 years, a couple of years ago. So that was, and then here's a verse that my wife loves to always send us: relax, let me take care of things. It's a beautiful reminder, because when you lose something and you gain something, it's easy to feel stressed and anxious about the future, and now what, and what happens when our daughters get sick. And of course, they're going to come home. They're only a few, 30 minutes away, so it's not like the end of the world. But as you know, as parents, we feel it. And so, it's kind of an end of an era. The end, everything is gone. The furniture is gone. The bunny's gone. That age of our lives, meaning when they were little and all here in their PJs, I mean, that's been gone for a while. But Saturday mornings when we all ate breakfast together for the last 26 years is gone like that overnight. And it sort of is like that and sort of not, because you feel ready and it's coming, and it's meant to be, and life is that way. We did that as kids when we were that age, and they are going to do that, and their kids, and it's just how life works. Now, I must say that in the Hispanic culture, this isn't very common. In the Hispanic culture that obviously I come from, and I would say Rochelle, not as a Hispanic, but in her vibe with her family, they're very close. And even just, I think, a little bit ago, they were all on the phone, the three sisters. Every weekend they talk on the phone for hours, and they see each other all the time. And so both of our families are very tight. Now, I would say ours is different in terms of how we do that, because we literally live together. That's how the Hispanic culture does it. Partly is economics to help each other out, but partly is just the love that we feel and the support that we have for each other. And really, my dream would have been that our daughters and son would be here till they're married, and really even then have the husbands move in, and we'll just keep adding on. And that's just really the Hispanic culture, and that's why we have this beautiful five bedroom house, 3 bathrooms, 2 stories, with a beautiful yard and front yard and backyard and garage and all that stuff. It's why we built this house, and we're gonna keep it, and we're gonna live here forever. It will be my dream, because my mom will be here, and our son is here now, and our daughters. They were just here, and they were upstairs in the room and just hanging out there. And when we have grandkids, they're gonna come, and of course, we're not expecting, of course, husbands to live here. That's not necessarily what we expect. But if that happens, hey, you're welcome to live upstairs. If you want to have 2-3 couples living here, I doubt it, right? Most young couples don't want to live with an in-laws, so I understand. But in my dream, this is again my dream, my crazy dream, I would add on and make the garage into a nice apartment and blah blah blah. Make it into, what do they call those? The grandma quarters, and instead we'd be our kids' quarters, right? That would be my dream. But if that doesn't happen, I understand, and that's okay, because that's not necessarily what they need, or what is what has to happen, or what will happen. But I must say, if that happens, man, praise the Lord. And so yeah, everything is gone, but that's not the end. And why do I say that? Because, as I said, this is a beginning for their lives. And really, as I was thinking about this the last few weeks, Rochelle and I were looking up, what do you do when you're an empty nester? It's like knitting, bowling. We're like, okay, traveling. We've done all that. No knitting, no bowling. Actually, we have bowled, but that's just not us. We're more into purpose. But really, we were both thinking about this last week. We have focused on our careers, and we're blessed in what we're doing as a pastor, and her as an educator, principal, dean, teacher. And we both love our careers and our callings, our ministries. But we feel like our ministry now, once again, is going to be to our kids, because now that they're entering their 20s, as you know, kids today need assistance and guidance. Just because our daughters are, quote, gone, doesn't mean that I'm not going to be helping, guiding, and calling them, not like some crazy dad, but in their lives. Same with our son. And so in some ways, and then of course, as far as Rochelle and I, we've always been tight. So it's not like we're like, oh, we're finally going to spend time. We've spent time all the time. We date, we hang out all the time, we pray every day, we go to the same church, we talk daily, we cry together, we laugh together, we go on trips together, we travel. We just went to Kauai, and we're going to probably go to Oregon this Christmas, as my guest, together as a family. So it's not like, oh, finally I get to go and see my wife. Like I said, I love my wife, and we have committed to each other, and we will continue to in new ways. And maybe it's praying, maybe it's visiting our daughters, maybe it's, my dad is going to be knitting, but maybe it's just praying. Perhaps we do a Bible study together. We always had unique ministries, me with worship and teaching, and her with kids and women. And her ministry has always been in the schools. And so So, but anyway, we don't know. God has a perfect plan, and so, and those are all new beginnings, right? That's not the end. It's the end of an era, but it's also the beginning of something brand new. It's the end. Everything is gone, you could say, but that's not the end, because God is a God of new beginnings. I was reading about Governor Newsom, right? And he's 55 or 6 or maybe 57, so he's my age. And he's just beginning to dream of what it would be like to be president. And I thought, wow, here's a man my age, and he's not like, well, my life is over and my kids are grown and blah, 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 and I have to downsize or not. He's thinking, I'm a young man. How can I be president in the next maybe 3 years? What an amazing, amazing example that was to me of thinking more normal, more logically. Not like I think I sometimes tend to believe that, oh, it's the end. And then my sister and I, who also is a little younger than me, in her early 50s, she was also thinking about her second life, because her kids are also the same as ours, grown and older and stuff. And what was I thinking? And learning, and she was talking about the same thing. How can she, and she has a great career and a beautiful house and blah, blah, blah. But she's also thinking, what am I going to do now that I have a new life? And it's not knitting, it's not bowling, it's not that kind of thing. I think she's thinking a career that fits her giftedness even more. Of course, her kids, because she does have a grandson, which I love, and I'm jealous of her. But, you can't do that. You can't spend every waking day with your grandchild. And so she's figuring out, okay, Lord, what do I do now? And we're talking a lot, which is another thing that's been beautiful, is my sister and I have been building a really beautiful relationship, again, now as adults, being that we're dealing with very similar things, because we both tend to be fear and anxious types when it comes to life and kids and all these things. So we have been commiserating a lot together, right, sister? But along with that, we've also been encouraging each other in terms of being kind of like rewriting our stories of how we talk about ourselves, rewriting our narrative, as I was telling her, not just of, oh, I'm perfect, I don't have any problems, but also not forgetting the amazing courage that we have as, quote, anxious types. And so that's been really awesome to talk to my sister and to lean on each other, kind of a support system of empty nester siblings. How about that, right? Just like my wife has her sisters, and they talk about very similar stories or similar things, even though they're a little bit different in terms of age and life stage, but still, right, same stuff. And my sister and I, who are very close in age, we do have, and I wonder if we should have all three of us, because I also have two siblings, so I wonder if soon I should do a little three-way call with both of my sisters who live close to each other, back home with my mom or near my mom's. Actually, one of my sisters lives with my mom and her husband and her family and my mom, and they're supporting each other and all that beautiful stuff. And then my other sister lives nearby. So I wonder if we should do that. So those are all the new beginnings, right? That God is doing. And I'm also thinking of doing more of these online Bible studies in Spanish, as you've been maybe seeing. I really love, of course I love doing Bible studies in English as well, but I felt a calling the last, couple of years, maybe the last 3-4 years. You would think, of course, you're Hispanic, but actually I haven't done a lot of Spanish Bible studies. I think I've only done maybe 1 or 2. And I've only worked out my 30 years in ministry, maybe 3 years, or maybe not quite only 3, maybe more like 7 to 8 years with a Hispanic culture. Anyway, my point is that I feel like that's it's just something I love and I care about. It's my people, to give them Jesus, to help them find hope for their families and guidance for their needs, and to give them hope in Jesus. And so I don't have a church per se that I'm pastoring in Spanish, although I would love that maybe soon, or a Bible study, but I do have the online presence in Spanish. It's not a church, it's just more a Bible study that we're doing here. But I do feel that God is opening a door there to minister as a pastor that I am and as a minister of the good news, to share the love of Jesus with people in Spanish and so, and of course in English, of course. So if you are looking for that support, here I am, right? So those are all the new things that I am just wrestling with and considering. And today especially doesn't feel exciting because I mean this is also fresh, right? Literally my mom just left, my daughters just left on Friday, and we're just beginning, my wife and I, to kind of like, wow, this is going to be different. And we're not the type of family that is going to dwell on, oh, this is terrible, but we're not also going to just try to like stuff it all and not think about it. We're going to feel it, we're going to cry, we're going to laugh, we're going to remember, we're going to have our daughters come and be here next weekend to do their laundry and to whatever, water their flowers and spend time with Roxy. So like my son said when he moved to Santa Barbara, I'm not going to Africa, Dad, I'm just going to Santa Barbara. Now he's here, so you know how life works. And so we're blessed to have this house and to be so close to each other. We get along. I mean, getting along sounds so silly. We love each other. We don't just get along. We are a family, and we love being together, but now in a different way. So I wonder how you, if you've dealt with similar things, how you have maybe not so much empty nester family stuff, but maybe family stuff, how you have learned to accept that everything is gone. It could be in your marriage, in maybe something with your work, could be your health, maybe some aspect of your career, and yet you know that's not the end. Maybe you're in the middle of that in between, where all you see is the emptiness and what's missing, what's been lost, and you don't yet see or have what's new. You might be in the middle. You might be on the other end, on the other side of things. Midlife is a beast, as they say, right? Because you do feel all over the place. I don't know if you've seen the image that I've often shown of midlife, which is a man who's desperate looking up to God and he can't find him. All he sees are dark clouds and demons laughing at him. And that's how midlife feels until you begin to sort of see, oh, maybe this is where this is headed. You're not yet to the end. You're not in your 30s anymore. You're not building or climbing. And you're kind of in this messy middle. And I read a book called The Happiness Curve about these very topics of midlife. And the advice basically, it says to hang in there, don't do anything stupid, and you will find your joy as you simplify and you focus on smaller things that aren't maybe as profitable or as huge as you once had. And I think that is very true, very accurate. And his point in the book is that people kind of at this age, they find their second wind right around now. And really, they're even happier than in their 20s because they simplify and they make these decisions and choices and they don't screw up their lives. Now, if you do mess up your life, which of course we see that on TV and in the news and everywhere, there's hope for you. There's always a second chance, third chance, because Jesus is the God of the second chances. But if you haven't yet, speaking of like the Coldplay fiasco with the astronomer CEO and his HR lady having an illicit relationship, I even hate that word, and messed up their lives, basically. 2 homes, and I don't know if the wife or the woman, seemingly she wasn't married anymore. I don't know, it seems like maybe she was divorced. But either way, he was married, and she was obviously with a married man, so blah, blah, blah. So midlife, that's what not to do at midlife. And so by the grace of God, Rochelle and I, as I said, we have a beautiful marriage. We just went out on a date to get a taco a week ago, and we went for a walk a little bit ago, taking Roxy out for a walk. And as I said, it's not like we're angels from heaven, but we're committed to each other in the ups and downs of life as we transition in these times of loss, you could say, or when everything is gone. Well, that's what I had for you today, my friend. thank you so much for being here. Please make sure that you like, comment, and share this broadcast. Help the algorithm get the word out to more people. I believe that this is helpful content for many people in Spanish and English to say, hey, me too. Hey, just like that guy, I'm also in the same boat. And I also need that support. And let this be your support system, your sponsor for your needs that we have. You don't have to be an addict to need a sponsor. I need a sponsor, and not just Jesus. I mean people, each other, people, and I do it this way. And maybe someday, if this grows to whatever, a few people we can meet here at my house or at church, or just keep it this way and grow this community called Gozo. Someone asked me today, what the heck is Gozo? It doesn't stand for anything. It's not like an acronym or initials. It just means joy, and it comes from Psalm 36. So there's pain in the night, Gozo, joy comes in the morning. Or from the other passage where it says, the joy of the Lord, Nehemiah 8, the joy of the Lord, the Gozo of the Lord is my strength. So that's what that means. Gozo just means the joy of the Lord. So again, davidtrey.com/Zoom. I'm going to actually make sure that link is good, because last time I checked it, it wasn't working. And that's how you can come into the program and have a convo with me. We can talk, we can pray, we can chat, and go from there. Well, thanks again for being here. Make sure that you share, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Adios.